Armored Corps Law, the League and Collard. Organizations made to keep the peace and order, to allow the world to heal after the failed Pax Economica, or simply fronts for the corporation executives to push their own collective ideals and goals behind the idea of peace. This is the League and Collard. History. The birth of both the League and Collard would begin after the end of the Lynx War, years after Anatolia's mercenary victory over the Aretha. The corporations, picking up the pieces of their lasso between each other, saw that this fighting between them would never allow them to maintain complete control over the people of the world they conquered. There could be no single ruler of this world, as should they be killed, they would descend back into the costly wars and disorder that would jeopardize the grip the corporations have. As such, forming together into this international organization, the members of the League would be the Bernard and Felix Foundation, Rosenthal, Taurus, Interior Union, Algebra, Omer Science, Technology, and Global Armaments. This would be the first steps taken by these corporations to secure their future, but not the last, as the League members would shift their focus to building arms forts and cradles. The arms fort would be their replacements for Nexts, allowing them total control over their military might, unlike the pilots of Next, who could not be trusted. In truth, the League had no military might. Much like the United Nations, we know all the League forces were made up of their members' own military might. As for the cradles, they would become their homes in the sky, for no League member and their family should have to live on the poisoned earth. Each one a floating city for the elite, which would slowly become home to half of Earth's population, all working while the corporate members and families watched like kings over their peasants. However, only 2 of the 7 members of this group would be able to produce these flying cities, namely Global Armaments and Interior Union. These 2 found a way to even profit from these, as other League members had to buy or rent cradles, the most notable being Omer Science. This may seem strange, seeing as the power plants for these flying homes, called Arterias, are owned by other corporations such as Rosenthal. From the book Armored Corps, A New Order for Nexts, we see that there were 9 Arterias in total attacked by Orca, and along with this picture, we can see that the red dots indicate Arterias giving power to GA cradles, while the blue dots indicate Arterias giving power to Interior Union cradles. It seems even the League members could not escape their corporate desires. As such, with all this adding up, the League would start to lose its power soon, with members starting to see their might being used more than others, some seeing the League as a chain holding them back. It would also be clear to all members of the League that the ones with the most political power within this organization would be Omer Science, who seemed to have matters go their way more often than not. This would make 2 members start to slowly turn independent, the first being GA, who felt the League was not doing anything for them and simply being used. While Taurus would do this more slowly, as being a rival of Omer Science, they did not want to aid a corporation in its political games. Here the breakdown of the League had begun, and with it the forming of the ground-based power, Lynarch, would begin putting the League's goal of complete power at risk, as they pushed for freedom and democracy for all people. Along with this, the League members also began to fight amongst themselves. With BFF, GA and other corporations being targeted by each other, it would result in even more lives lost as arms force topples and normals powerless to stop as Lynx mercenaries with their Next do the bidding of their highest bidder, under the watchful eye of Collard. This organization for Lynx formed sometimes after the Lynx War along with the League. Collard is responsible for the management and control of the Lynx that the corporations left behind on Earth. There is no information on where this was located nor how it operated, yet what is known is the League would manage all Collard ranking issues and organize order matches. At one point, like the League, Collard seemed to have been quite the organization, with the backing of the corporations allowing them to be a powerful enforcement force, to keep Lynx in line and the order the League seeked from these mercenaries. However, it seems with the movement towards arms fort and corporations' interest shifting, it made Collard fall into nothing more than being a watering hole for mission agency brokers to carry out orders for corporations. Still, this is only the start of the League's history, as later on, when Strayed would become a mercenary, it is here where the League seemed to push their plan to be rid of Lynarch. It begins with a simple mission to take out the defensive Lynarch, while their next, White Glint, is away. Their reason for this attack is because the leaders of Lynarch would not come to the negotiating table with the corporations who enslaved the world and started to kill it with their wars. This attack would force Lynarch to pull back White Glint to defend their headquarters. However, the League would not let their rivals rest. As soon after Strayed had proven himself as a Lynx with a few more missions, the League would request the mercenary to take out Lynarch's ace, White Glint, a move that would leave Linearch powerless to stop the League, who believe them to be a threat to the Cradles. This is strange, as stated in the report on Linearch. There has never been any reports of Linearch forces performing operations against the Cradles. In fact, the only mission on record is when Whitelin went to take out the Spirit of Motherwill with the help of the newly built Vanguard Overboost. This attack, however, would go ahead, with the League supposedly readying as much firepower as possible. It ends with the defeat of Whitelin, and the number 1 Collard rank Lynx, Ostava, sinking into the ocean below Linearch, leaving Strayed as the only one standing. It is important to note here that Linearch was simply crippled by this loss, not killed off. The League would pay no more attention to Linearch from here on out. The only ones that would is the Omir Science Corporation, who would issue a job to destroy their air filtering system, which kept Linearch's people alive. As such, officially, the death of Linearch, should this request be taken, is done by a mercenary hired by Omir Science, not the League. From here then, it is stated that the Cradles entered a period of stability. However, what is happening behind this is the beginning of the League and Orca plan. With the corporations still fighting among themselves, this leads to more deaths of Lynx and more arms forts falling. The League members were weakening each other's forces, leading finally to where it all began in July. The Orca Brigade's attack on the lifeline of the Cradles, the Arteria facilities. These would cause the League to seemingly panic as they ban order matches and at once began offensive measures against these revolutionaries. In truth, their mighty castles of armed forts and defences were no match for this new power. As such, the League called upon their own Lynx and mercenaries to aid them. Strayed, if he remains loyal to the League, will then be requested to take on League missions, such as defeat Orca Special Arms Fort Unit, which the League offer the Lynx to be on reserve while they send in conventional forces first, normals and MTs, which are all wiped out instantly by the jet arms forts, leading to Strayed having to deal with them. After this, Strayed would then be asked to destroy the anti-satellite cannons, where he will kill Neonidus and the Arteria. Before finally, Strayed is then requested by the League to aid in defeating Orca's main forces, located at Big Box. It is here, along with Windy Fanchin, that Strayed would end the lives of the second-in-command of Orca and his bodyguards, while the other League forces fought over the largest Arteria facility, the Cranium. The reason for this is the facility acted as a main control of where all the other Arteria power went, which, depending on who controlled it, would mean either keeping all the power to the Cradles, or, should it fall into Orca hands, power would be used to fire the anti-satellite cannons. Yet it is after this mission that suddenly there is a shift in the League's attitude towards Orca, as without warning they start to disengage. The shift is said to have happened due to a secret pact between Orca and the corporation leaders, said to offer them protection and keep their dark secrets safe. But in truth it seems the corporations only cared for one thing, for they knew that the widespread destruction would spur the growth of economic reigns. And that maybe, just all along, perhaps Orca had just been another pawn in their games. Though there is nothing to show this was the case, after all, dark secrets are always well hidden, yet to anyone from the outside it was a strange turn of events. The League, then using Collard, would order all mercenaries to stop fighting Orca, and take no further action, as shown in a radio conversation between Collard Lynx.
I'm only going to say this once. Stay out of Orca's way. Leave them be. This comes from the very top decision makers of both the League and Collard.
Is there a reason for this?
Reason? Since when did Collard need to explain itself to you?
Here then is where the League history would have led them to allow Orca to carry out the closed plan, with the anti-satellite cannons blasting them a path to space. But this only happens if Strayed sides with Orca, for conflicting reports state that Strayed and Windy Fanchin would break away from Collard and kill the Orca leader and retake the Cranium. So how did the League respond to this? I ask you to listen carefully to the next clip to catch what happened to these heroes.
Maltzel fell at Big Box, and Maximilian Thermidor at Cranium. In an instant, the backbone of Orca was broken. The League rewarded their Lynx saviors with glowing eulogies. They hunted down the remnants of Orca, and once again secured the dignity of their rule.
They gave them eulogies, speeches used to celebrate a dead person's life. Perhaps like myself, you missed this at first, but after it was pointed out, I can say then that it is suggested by this wording that either Windy and Strayed both died either during the fight taking the Orca members with them, or after. This could of course be pointing the finger that during the League's mop-up of Orca forces that independent mercenaries were not spared. Or that Strayed and Windy were that badly injured after the fight they died from wounds shortly after. But why would the League kill off their heroes? Why? Because they threatened their goal. The League wanted total control of everything, and having two mercenaries who would go off and ignore orders, that is not having control. In fact, it could inspire others to rise up to question the corporations. As such, they had to go. The corporation's world did not need heroes, it needed loyal dogs to do their bidding and heed their commands. Perhaps then that explains why then in one report, that Strayed and Old King forced the League's hand by taking down 5 Cradles. They create chaos. It shows the corporations have no control, and that this League of Corporations is weak. They let these monsters kill millions of their workers, perhaps family, throwing their perfect world into chaos. So, how did the League respond to this? They set a trap for Old King and Strayed to be killed by 5 elite Next pilots at the Interior Carpels. This plan, however, does not work as well as they thought, as even though Old King is killed, Strayed kills the 5 elite mercenaries and would then go on a rampage. It is described as one where the blood of innocents would rain down from the Cradles, all by the hands of a single lynx. If this report is to be taken as the truth, then the corporations were powerless to stop Strayed. He would kill their families and workers by downing Cradles, and then carry on until he could no longer. There is no evidence about how the League came to an end. All we do know is that in Armored Core Verdict Day on Mission 5/8, we can see a crashed Cradle on its side, and that in Armored Core 5, there is the Corporation. Could they be the remains of the League, or the next generation who wishes to carry out their goal of total order? Here ends the report on the League of Corporations and Collard.
This is Maximilian Thermidor. Your target is Answerer, a high-tech arms fork manufactured by the Interior Union in Omer. The Answerer is bristling with the latest Kojima arms tech. It is considerably stronger than other arms forts you might have encountered